Okay, I think what we'll do is we'll actually have something separate where I can show you guys how to set up the categories and different things. Because the main categories, because the reason I want you guys to already have your Mint account set up is that's how you're gonna find the money that you're gonna use to invest. Because you're gonna find where you're wasting money and, oh, I don't wanna spend that much on that, and I wanna actually take that $10 I'm putting over here and put over there. So that's how we wanna get our budget set up. With Mint, especially on the phone, just know, because I know Michael Lee told me on Sunday, he does not want to do his on the phone. Both Stash and Mint you can do on the computer. And you can set up the categories, and one of the things I like about Mint, when I use it on the computer, it will remind you when your bills are due. When you link it to your bills, like it's linked to my Vista account, so when that bill comes due, it automatically pops up and reminds me that this bill is time to pay. And then that way I don't have to worry about if I haven't gotten it in the mail or anything like that. It reminds me when my rent is due and so forth. So it puts those financial reminders in there. So, like I say, sometimes you're like, oh, it won't let you ignore it.
So is it the Mint budgeting app?
It is the Mint budgeting app. It's Mint. It's by Intuit.
Mint mobile app or Mint budgeting?
Um, yeah, MINT. If it has Intuit on there,
Just trying to figure out which one.
oh, it doesn't matter. Tap them.
Confused too, because it was a bunch of different ones.
So I got Mint, and I got Mint mobile app, and I got Mint budgeting.
All of them are probably going to take you to the same thing.
Okay.
So when you tap on it, as long as it says Intuit, that's the one we're referring to. And this one is also good because if you have people that are entrepreneurs, this will also help them track that, and it links to their QuickBooks as well if they do QuickBooks to use for their business. Okay?
It still tells me I have more money than I have.
That means you're rich. All right. So one of the things I want to talk about, like I said, when we were talking about budgets before, I was telling you that I have a zero balance budget. And I know that's kind of a hard concept to get because, like I said, at the beginning of the month, you're starting off with zero if you paid all of your bills and accounted for every dollar. So if, depending on how you choose to set up your budget, you have to set it up in a way that you're going to be successful. Because there is the 50-30-20 budget. That is another type of budget. And what that is that's 50%, hold on, I never wrote it down. That is 50% of your rent, food, and utilities. That accounts for 50% of your budget. 30% is free money, and 20% is savings. Now, part of this for us church folks, the reason is there's no place in there as far as when you talk about putting in your tithes. So you can make the budget how you want, but you can account for it in a way that you're, like I said, that you're going to be successful. Now, do you guys have any type of budget set up currently, even on paper? You don't know what your money does or doesn't do?
I do it every month.
What do you do every month?
Look at what my total income is.
Okay,
And then, figure out what the expenses are.
okay. So most of us have set utility bills, all right? The only thing that fluctuate, like during the summertime, your air goes up, and during the wintertime, your heat goes up. Those are usually the only fluctuations that we really see. Your cell phone bills are usually steady. I think since moving to Medford, there's some bill that's $56 every month. I don't know what that is, but that's, huh? Yeah, it's something to the city, yeah. Okay. But that's the same every month. My cell phone bill is the same every month. So when we start talking about categories and Intuit, it breaks your utility. It doesn't necessarily break your utilities up. But say if you know that you want to separate your gas from your light bills, you can add additional categories in your budget because you want to see which one is costing you more. Because especially if you got house guests and they're running your electricity all day, I'm going to need you to turn off them lights. Kind of deal. But then also, say on Mint, there's a shopping category. So shopping is broken down by books, entertainment, what else? Clothes, shoes, and however it's personal care. So if you have a budget for those things, if you want to see how much you're spending on moisturizer every month, you set up a personal care part of your budget, if you want that to be part of your budget. If it's something you do like once every 6 months, then you don't necessarily have to worry about it. Are you guys trying to look it up? Are you looking at it right now?
I'm creating an account.
You're creating account? Okay, I'm gonna show, you guys won't see it from here, but this is what your budget looks like when you put it on Mint, okay? I don't know if y'all can see my actual numbers, y'all need to know how much money I spent, but that's okay. But over here, it shows your various accounts, and this is why it looks different on the iPad. It does not look like this on your phone. So I want you guys to see that. It does not look like this on your phone, which is why I do it on the iPad. If you do it on the computer, it will look similar to this. But I want to take you over here. See these various categories? So when I was telling you guys, green means I still have money left in that particular budget. The yellow ones means that I've already used it up. This is my mobile phone bill, which is, I budget $270 a month for my cell phone bill. I spent $260, so I still have $6 left on that budget, and that's what it showed you. The other ones are still blank. My tithes is right here, that's in my budget. And I set it for like a set amount every month. If my income goes up, then I'll pay the extra, but right now it's just a steady amount that goes in there. I'm over my book budget because I do have a budget for books. So it shows you everything that's there, and then all that stuff that you think you're getting away with, that you didn't put in the budget, it comes up over here. You can still go find it. And so, and like I said, I want you guys to start looking at that because you are going to see where you're spending your excess money. And because when you're looking at it, a lot of us don't think about it, which is why I use my card all the time. I had to actually separate out even my savings and my investing, because in Mint, that's one thing it will not track. So you actually have to make it an expense in order to see that your money is actually going over there to your savings and your investing. And like I said, we'll do something separate where I can actually show you guys up on the screen or something to show you how to set up your various accounts. Because, okay, you guys tell me, what do you think is your biggest expense besides rent? What is your biggest pleasurable expense? What do you think? What's your indulgence besides Grubhub?
Well, I mean, for us right now, it is food, but, you know, we haven't started traveling yet, but that's, traveling will be our
Okay.
business.
So when you talk about food, are you talking about groceries or are you talking about dining out?
Well, that's part of groceries. Because it's just the two of us.
Okay.
You know, I mean, you know, sometimes it's cheaper to
To
eat
dine
out.
out, yes, I agree, I agree. All right, and like I said, you guys want to travel, what do you think your traveling expenses are gonna look like? Based on gas and where you're going and all that, how do you propose to make that work for you?
So, what I haven't done yet is, I need to do some research of different, RV parks
Mm-hmm.
in the state, in the areas that we wanna go and visit and, you know, and stuff like that. Cause we wanna look at a lot of the beauty that Oregon has and the waterfalls and, you know, different beaches and stuff, and park at those different parks
Okay,
whenever we go. So that is probably gonna be the biggest expense, that between that and gas.
gas, okay,
But I don't know what that looks like yet, cause I haven't done that research.
okay. So knowing that that's going to be a big part of your budget, is it going to require extra income for you guys to do this, or is it going to require you giving up something to do this? Have you guys made that decision yet?
We shouldn't have to give up anything. It should, you know, the way we have things set up, it will be money that's not,
Being used?
not being used for, you know, basic expenses.
Okay, basic necessities. All right, so like my original question is, what is your biggest pleasurable expense? I know your thing is kind of like diamonds. I remember that was being said a while ago.
I haven't had any of those in a while.
Okay. But what are your biggest pleasurable expenses that you think that you can pull money from that's gonna help compensate for the stuff that's gonna go on in your budget?
Yeah, so, I mean, I think eating out, really.
Yeah, probably, because we do eat out a lot.
Okay. What percentage of your account, what percent of your money spending is, because I'm not gonna call it a budget yet, because you haven't put it in the budget, but what percentage of your income do you think you spend on dining out?
What percentage?
And what percentage? Do you eat out once a day, twice a day, 2 times a week, 3 times a week? She looking at him.
Right now, I'm gonna say we probably eat out, 5 times a week.
5 times a week?
And, you know, sometimes, you know,
Sometimes twice.
that's like an average per week.
Okay.
We might eat out twice in one day, you
Wow.
know, whatever, but probably 5 times a week.
Like especially on church nights,
Okay.
so
Church, yeah.
Wednesdays, Sundays, Fridays.
All right, I'm gonna be very conservative, and I'm gonna say y'all spend about $50.
That is pretty conservative.
Yeah, okay. That, and you know, I wasn't even thinking, I'm gonna go ahead and give y'all $100.
Thank you.
Yes. All right, so we're gonna say that's $100 a week.
That's better.
That's $5,200 a year that you guys spend on food. Does that sound like something you wanna continue doing? You know, I can't say nothing. That's the conservative of $5,200 a year. That's $400 a month on average that you're spending on dining out. When you think of it that way, it's a lot, isn't it?
That's a lot, yeah. Yeah.
And so that's what I'm saying, even if you backed up and say, okay, I know I spent $400 a month and I'm not gonna give up dining out, but I'm gonna back it up a bit. I'm gonna try and budget how I dine out and do it down to $350, and I'm gonna put this other $50 over here. That's how you're gonna work your budget and kind of ease into it. Because like I said, I don't want you guys doing anything drastic that's gonna be like, oh, you know what, it's just gonna have to wait because I'm not gonna do it. Because it makes it too easy to give up when you start trying to give up all the things that you like. Like I said, when I saw how much I was spending at Starbucks on coffee, and so I actually had to put Starbucks in my budget until I decided Starbucks made me mad and I wasn't gonna buy it anymore. I don't buy Starbucks anymore. So when you start looking at your pleasurable expenses, that's where your money's gonna have to come from. I'm sorry to tell you. The stuff that's necessary is necessary. You have to pay the bills that you need to live every day. So you're gonna have to find the money in the pleasurable stuff. Don't give up the pleasurable stuff. Don't ever do that. What's your biggest pleasure, Michael? Do you know?
Probably eating and probably buying some CDs and stuff like that. So entertainment stuff.
Entertainment stuff.
Like music stuff and like that.
So you still buy CDs, you don't stream?
Well, sometimes I do, but since the pandemic, I've been getting them from this one guy in Seattle that he's doing something for me. So that's my biggest thing. And then I got a family member I help out. I can stop that because I'm enabling, but I can stop that. But that's something that I do. So that's something I'm still soul searching with. So,
Okay, all right.
you know, family members can drain you if you let them.
Oh, trust me, I know.
So,
Trust me, I know.
You heard of Bank of Mom?
Yes, I heard the Bank of Mom. I was a member of the Bank of Dad. My dad was my enabler for a long time. I was a daddy's girl even after I got married. So when you guys, like I said, when you guys start looking at your budget, find a way to make your budget fit you. Don't do any over-the-top, drastic, crazy stuff because it gets very discouraging. But like I said, I'm a proponent of the opposite of what people tell you, pay off all your debt first and then save. That's not how I do it. You pay off part of your debt and you save part, because like I said, if you rely on your credit cards now, you're gonna fall back on them when you get in trouble, and you won't have any savings. So if you're paying, say if you're paying extra on your debt, if you can take a little bit from that extra that you're paying on that debt to start setting aside, then do that. So say if your minimum payment is $35 a month, but you're paying $50, so you're paying an extra $15. Go ahead and pay an extra $10 and put that $5 to the side. Just $5. Don't start with something crazy that's not doable for you, because you're gonna think like, well, heck, I may as well just go ahead and pay the $35 and keep the 15 and go out one more time. Go out one more again, as my mama used to say. So, like I said, finding a way to make sure that your budget fits you, that you're not doing anything crazy that's going to discourage you. Okay? The other thing is when you, let me see. Make sure that you include something pleasurable in your budgets, because a lot of people, when they start making budgets, they only do the necessary stuff. Oh, well, I'm just gonna do this and then I'm gonna save the rest of my money. There are times that we all know that we get burned out. So you have to, whatever your pleasure is, I don't care if you find a way, and this goes for men too. If pedicure is your self-care, make sure it's in the budget. Because like I say, with ours being a zero budget, however much I plan on making that month, I make sure that I account for all of it. I just recently started putting pedicures back in my budget, just at least once a month. I didn't get a pedicure all last year, at all. And I realized, it's like, I just done sucked all the fun out of my life. They locked me in this house and now there's nothing to do. So I put it back in the budget this month, or starting this year. So find your pleasure thing, and then make sure that it does not go over the budget, that it has to require a credit card. All right? I'm gonna give you guys a story about my mom. My mom, y'all, do you guys remember the Broadway? The Broadway? The Broadway was a department store. I guess it's the LA thing, yeah. My mom used to work for the Broadway. She couldn't get home good with her check without spending it, most of it back at the Broadway. And it would be one of those where it wasn't even things that she needed or wanted. It was like, well, somebody's gonna need this. She bought kids' clothes. Me and my sister were grown. She buying baby coats and because it came with a discount and it was on clearance and she got her employee discount. It's a good price. It's only $4. It's only $4. But Mom, you bought 20 of them.
I don't do that.
But like I said, if you know that you have a giving personality, put your giving in your budget so that you don't take away all your joy. All right? Okay. So, do you guys have any budget questions? Anything at all? Budget question. Financial question, because we're going to do something else in a second. No. Okay, so now we're gonna move on, and I wish the younger people were here. I know AJ's back there, but the part that I want to talk about now is babies and keeping it real. Babies' budgets and keeping it real with our children, and making sure our children are a part of our financial conversations. Now, this is for you guys, even if you don't have kids. Michael, do you have children? Old and gone or something? Okay. Okay. Okay, so and like I said, even if it's not your children, then it's for your grandchildren. Because even if you're putting aside money right now for yourself, you might leave it to someone that I don't know, might have to have it at some point. But if we don't prepare our kids financially, then that money you leave them is going to be wasted funds. I'm sorry to say it, because some of us are just wasteful, and that's why I talk about overcoming waste, and I'm talking about financial waste. So our kids need to be part of the financial conversation. If you have nieces and nephews that you know you want to leave something to, if you know that somewhere down the line somebody's going to get whatever you leave behind, unless my dad used to tell me, get a job because I'm spending all mine before I go. But if you know that you're going to leave something to someone, and even if it's the insurance policy, we need to start talking about finances with the children that are part of our life. Because if we don't, they're going to be the next generation of waste people. as far as their finances are concerned. So when you start having these conversations, like my daughter now, what I tell my daughter is, because she does not work, and she will be working again when she turns 14, Morgan got her first job when she was 4. And because we had our own business, that was doable. And it's legal. So anybody out there that's listening that has a child and you're an entrepreneur, you need to go ahead and hire them, and because there's some benefits to it, and you still get to take the write-off. A lot of people don't know that. I don't care how young they are, as long as it's a fair wage, you can hire your children. Okay? Now that part's out the way. But when you start having these conversations, like I said, Morgan got her first job when she was 4. She actually became a cashier in one of our restaurants when she was 9. She started her investment account when she was 9 years old. Now, one of the things I teach my daughter is that college is not a requirement depending on what she plans to do with her life. So she has a retirement fund instead of a college fund. And my thing with that is that when we teach our kids how to use money wisely, then they don't have to work for a paycheck. They don't have to suffer through all the crazy and put up with nonsense for a paycheck. That does not mean be irresponsible, and it does not mean that you're not supposed to work. It just means that, you know what, my financial well-being is not based on this job. I'm doing this job because I want to, not because I have to. All right, so my thing is, when we start preparing our kids to be financially responsible, then they can find their purpose in God. And that is a big thing to me. If you can find your purpose in God and not have it be a financial drain on you, then you know what? You don't have to worry about the money. So when you talk to your kids and you have that financial conversation, Morgan knows, like now, because she's not working, the money she gets, I'm investing in you. I'm not investing in you and whoever you decide to partner with down the line, I'm investing in you. And I'm kind of selfish that way and petty, but that's not the point right now. But my daughter gets her money every week, just like we do. We discuss her finances. We have, you guys, I told you to download Stash because Stash is very easy to use. It's very user-friendly, and that's why I suggested it. But I also have a Fidelity account. Fidelity is something else, and they have more options to invest in. Stash has some limitations. You can't invest in as many ETFs and different funds as like Schwab and Vanguard and all those different things. Those are all different companies that you can use to invest with. But for now, just to get your feet wet, Stash is a really great one. Morgan's is through E-Trade. E-Trade is different because with E-Trade, you have to buy whole shares. So she has to, because she only gets $35 a week, she has to accumulate a certain amount in order to be able to buy a full share of whatever it is that she's gonna get. Like she has a couple of bond funds that are $12 to $15 a share, so yes, she can definitely buy that. But when she continues to buy Microsoft is $200 and something a share now. Her Starbucks, I think, is $70 or $80 a share. Her Nike is $100 and something a share. So she has to wait to be able to buy a full share. So that's why I don't suggest companies like that. If you only have a little bit, like I say, with Stash, you can invest as little as $5 or whatever. I just actually, because when I told you guys about using the debit card, I had accumulated $2 and something in Wendy's stock. And that's one of the things with the Stash account, they give you a debit card, and whatever you swipe at a store, you end up buying that stock. Now, if that particular store, say like you do it at the corner liquor store, because they're not a publicly traded company, then what it's going to invest in, I think, is called Stocks Worldwide. So everything kind of goes into that bucket fund if it is not a stock that's traded on the market. So if you decide to use your debit card, you're constantly buying minuscule, depending on how much you spend, but you're constantly buying a piece of that company that you use all the time, yes.
I'm already getting pennies.
You're already getting pennies? What'd you get pennies in?
Google,
Okay. How'd you get Google?
that's what they gave me.
Oh, that's the one that they gave you, okay. When you start using your debit card, like you said, you guys dine out a lot. So depending on where you dine out, say like if you go to McDonald's at least once a week. You spend $10 there at least once a week. So now every time you go and you do that $10 swipe with your Stash debit card, you may get 5 or 10 cents of a share of stock. And after a while, that's going to accumulate. If that's what you do every year consistently all the time, you're constantly buying those little, excuse me, those little pieces of McDonald's stock. If you shop at Walmart all the time, you're gonna get pieces of Walmart stock. So that is the good thing about stashing that debit card. You're buying something for spending your money.
Guess what I told them I wanted to do?
What you wanna do?
Amazon.
Buy Amazon.
I did. I mean, that's the one they asked me, they said, what do you want to, what style do you want to use?
Okay.
And I flipped down and I saw Amazon.
And Amazon, was it Amazon or Apple that just split?
Things that's coming to my house now from Amazon.
You have a shopping problem, don't you, Margaret?
Well, I've gotten to the point where I don't wanna go out to shop,
Okay,
okay? So,
Okay.
I mean, what I did buy, I bought some stuff that I didn't need, I'll be honest, I did.
Okay.
I bought clippers for my son,
okay,
I bought a fireplace set, because my young son sticks his hand in the fire and grabs burning logs to move them from one place to the other. So I bought a fireplace set so he can use the tongs and do that, and not use his hand. And, you know, but then I also ordered paper towels and toilet paper and laundry, not laundry soap, dishwashing soap and printer reading, that kind of thing.
okay,
So it's stuff that I need,
okay,
basically, but I don't have to go nowhere to get it. It's just so convenient. Just order it.
okay.
Because I have Prime and the shipping is free.
Yes, it is.
So it's, you know, I would be buying it anyway. So I just,
I love your face.
I do it online, so I don't have to go nowhere to do it.
All right, so why'd you buy your son the clippers instead of him buying his own clippers?
Oh, 'cause that's me, that's what
It's gotta stop being you.
Bank of mom.
that's what.
I know. Stop being the bank of mom.
It is, you know, my rationale was, he cuts my hair, and it's free. I don't
No, it's not
pay
free.
no-
You just bought the clippers for it.
Well, but, you know, 2 or 3 haircuts is gonna pay.
No, I understand that, Miss Margaret. Trust me, I do. But
So
sweetie,
that's my rationale. for
okay.
buying this
And you just said it, that's your rationale for shopping. And that is fine if it's stuff that you need. But if what was he cutting your hair with before?
Some clippers that was pinching my head. Oh, I'm sorry, Mom. Oh, I'm sorry, Mom. Oh, I'm sorry, Mom. Tired of that.
Okay. My thing with you, Miss Margaret, before you buy your next mama bank account thing, think about it if you really need it. That's all I'm gonna say. Your son was not complaining about turning them logs over with his hand. Said your son was not complaining about turning them logs over with his hand.
He wasn't complaining, but I don't want him burning his hand.
I get that. But like I say, you're using it as, when you talk about it, even you're sounding like you're using it as an excuse that you wanted to shop for it. If it's just something that you wanted, sweetie, you can buy whatever you want. But once you start trying to rein in your spending, and once you start trying to understand where your money is going, then you think about it. How much longer are you gonna burn that fireplace?
Till it warms up outside.
Until it warms up outside? Now, do you use the fireplace instead of turning on the heater? Or do you use both?
I use the fireplace instead of turning up the heater.
So both of them are going, fireplace and the heater?
Well, the heater is like at 70 or 69, something like that.
Okay,
And
She
then
has to be much warmer than that.
I'm very cold-blooded.
She's
Okay.
very tropical.
all right.
And
They
so-
come from the same.
So if I'm gonna hang out, if I'm gonna hang out in the living room, we have to have a fire.
Okay,
Otherwise, I'll go in my bedroom and turn on the space heater.
okay.
I'm telling you, dear, they're tropical. Trust me.
Yes,
Some I'm very used to after 32 years.
Wow. Okay, like I said, Ms. Mark, before you make your next purchase, just consider it. Do you really need it? All right? And we're gonna cut out the finger hut thing too, aren't we?
I haven't done anything with Fingerhut but pay the bill.
Okay, good. How much more do we have on the finger hut bill, if you don't mind me asking?
Paying it down.
Huh?
Quite a ways. She
Quite a-
just started paying.
$700.
Okay, All right. Okay, so, are you paying extra on that, or you just paying the minimum?
Yes, the last time I did,
All right, do you currently have savings?
no.
Then like,
$32 for my savings.
okay, then what I want you to start doing is that extra that you're paying on Finger Hut, take just a little piece of it and start adding it to your savings account. All right, and then even if, and, cause like what we recently did, we actually keep our savings account and our checking account in two separate banks. Because you know, you can't, I don't know if you guys know about Banner Bank, I did not know this, cause I just recently opened, but you can't get your money out with an ATM card. So I sent Neil to get money out when we got his car, and I actually had to transfer it into the checking in order to be able to pull it out to put into our other checking. Yeah, so if you have that,
Savings,
huh?
correct.
Yeah, savings. So if, depending on where your savings and your checking accounts lie, I don't know if that's all banks, but I would definitely keep them separate, especially because some people have that overdraft effect. They're like, oh, well, I know it's just gonna pull it from my savings. So they overdraw their accounts on purpose and not even realizing that they're paying the fee when they do that. Because when they, instead of you transferring the money, they charge you $10 to transfer your money. So why are you giving them $10? Just transfer it yourself, or don't overspend on your account. And I will be very honest, before I actually started keeping up with my finances better, I thought NSF was a credit card. Not that I actually thought, I'm just saying it was on my account so many times because I was constantly overdrawing my account because I was not keeping up with my finances. I mean, I would have $36 charges in like 5, 6 in a row because I swiped my, and it would be for stuff that wasn't even $36. It was $5 and I gotta pay $36.
Overdraft
So you
protection.
paid $41.
I poured $41 for a sucker. Something like this, something stupid.
I said, no, I'm done with that.
But see, that's the thing. But if we don't rein in our spending, we take advantage of the overdraft protection, but the overdraft protection is still charging us. They're charging us $5 and $10. And all it is like, okay, just stay within your limit. Stay in your lane. You know you have no money, no more money left.
Do that if I don't have overdraft protection. Cause I hate the overdraw.
Okay.
I don't like the overdraft.
But if you, Miss Margaret, when you start looking at how much money you have left in your account, you know you have no money left, so stop spending it.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay? Stop laughing. All right, so like I said, include your grandbabies in these conversations. If their parents don't want to listen, include your grandkids. Because I know the Bible talks about basically when you leave something behind, you skip a generation and you leave it to your grandkids anyway. I don't even know if I'm gonna be around for my grandkids. I had my child late. But start including them in the conversations. Do we need something? Start including them in the conversation as far as like how they're going to grow up financially.
Do you have SmartView on your tablet?
I do not.
Is it an app?
Yeah, you want me to download an app called SmartView?
It's something like that. That way you could like
Stream.
cast to the.
To here?
to the TV.
Oh,
Yeah, we'll figure it out for next time.
okay, all right. Okay. But including the kids in the conversation, you have to make sure that it's age appropriate. Even if like I said, Morgan got her first job when she was 4. Her title was director in charge of shredding. She had to shred all of the stuff that I did not want. And believe it or not, it actually frees you up because sometimes that's a part of your, especially when you're a solo entrepreneur, all of those little bitty tasks are part of what you have to do. So if you can get your kid you pile up all that stack, all I need you to do is work 4 hours a week. So she gets an hour a week, or an hour a day, or however many 4 days however her 4 hours are spread out. That's okay. So like I said, she was required to work 4 hours per week, and that was spread out over 4 or 5 days. And I would just let the shredding pile up. So then she would just have to sit there and shred. And if I didn't have enough trust to know, I went out and got some friends who needed some stuff shredded. Come on, Morgan need to work. And I started explaining to her, okay, she said, I said, how much do you want to get paid? You know, kids back then, I want to get 5 monies. I want 5 monies. And I was like, okay, we can do 5 Mondays. I said, so I want 5 hours. But I also explained to her, I said, you realize you're working for cheap, right? She said, why? 5 Mondays is a lot of money. But like I said, this is talking to a 4-year-old. And explaining to her is that, sweetie, at a certain time, as you grow older, your time is worth more. And if our kids don't understand that, even when they go out and get jobs, they end up at McDonald's and Jack in the Box, and they don't realize your time is worth more. This franchise is making major money. McDonald's makes millions of dollars. Okay, you're getting $10 an hour, $15 an hour. So you have to realize your time is worth money. Even at 4 years old, your 5 Mondays, this is what you can buy with 5 Mondays. But you know, with kids, well, you gonna buy the rest of it for me? No. So, like I said, when Morgan was 9 years old, Morgan got her first job in the company. She became a cashier, and she actually went on the payroll, and she went on the schedule. Because she learned the business well enough that we were able to leave her there with whoever was in charge. And she would call, can I come home? I'm not your boss, why are you calling me? You have to answer to that person who's there. Well, if my boss, can I come home, will you come and get me? But she got a check every Friday. She had her own business cards, and they actually said the boss on there, because she was bossy as I don't know what. Oh my gosh. We told her that she could not boss anyone that was over 19. Unfortunately, we had one employee that was under 19, and she rode him like Zeus. I promise you she did. And she was constantly on him. Eric, I need you to do this. I was like, Morgan, stop worrying him. And so we actually had to tell her, you know what, stop bossing Eric. So what she did, because we had dry erase markers, she would draw pictures on the fridge and go point it to Eric. This is what I need you to do. She was seriously bossy. But like I said, she was on the payroll. She got her paycheck on Friday just like everyone else. We walked her to the bank. They knew her at the bank. She would deposit her check. I would make her sign the back with her account number and so forth. And if she needed to take any money out, the most I would let her take out is like $20. You can take out $20 because her check would be like anywhere from $75 to $175. And this is what she made per week. Yeah. And so she knew that, you know what, you don't work, you don't get paid. Because if I don't work, I don't get paid. And she's like, well, what if I don't want to go to work? What you gonna do? Because you ain't staying in the bed. Now you just got to go and you got to sit and watch me work. And you ain't even going to get paid today. Does that make any sense to you? So having her have that conversation on her level to, like I said, when she got a big check, she thought she was balling out of control when she got a $200 check. But it set her up for, you know what, you need to go deposit your check. When she had because I put it under my name as well, she had her ATM card. We would go somewhere. We went to the museum, and Morgan is a knick-knack fiend. She just want to buy all this little bitty crap so we would go places, and her ATM card was in her wallet. And when we get there, she would walk up and she would take out her card, and people look at me. I said, what you looking at me for? That's her card. That's her money. And that's what it was. That was her money. Now, I still set limits as a parent on what she could and could not buy, but she had an ATM card. She had to look at her bank statements and see, Mommy, can I do something? Check your bank account. I don't know. Can you? And so making her recognize that her finances were her responsibility. It's just like now, and then making her understand that how much money I have doesn't mean that you get to have everything that you want. Because let me tell you what bills we got in this house. We have rent. Do you want to have a roof over your head? That's what this is. You want that light to come on when you do this? Do you want to keep your Wi-Fi connection so you can do this all day? So making her understand that all of those things required money. So when I get my paycheck, this is what I have to spend my money on. When you get a paycheck, you go out and waste your money on this. But also, when she got her check, she knew that, you know what, you got to take out cash because you got to pay your tithes on Sunday. So she would have, if her check was $120, she knew that and people didn't understand why is she paying, because most kids, they go to church with $1 or $2. No, you got to pay your 10% check. And people were like, well, is that too? No, that's not too much. She went to work. She knows how to pay her tithes. And like I said, and then from there, she had to learn to invest. I need you to invest something because you're not going to work the rest of your life. Everybody says they want to retire early, but nobody wants to put the money away early. When I used to do taxes for a living, when I used to work for H&R Block, and I would get my young clients in there, and I would say, do you guys invest in anything? No, I'm too young. You're not too young. And especially, like I said, if you're an entrepreneur and you have a child that does not work for you, that does not make sense to me. That is a financial advantage that so many entrepreneurs have that, oh, well, I just wanted to be kids. Me and Morgan did a radio interview one day. And so a woman came on, well, she needs to be, this was when Morgan was 11. And so they were talking about she needs to be able to be a child. And Morgan said, I'm still a child. She said, I'm still an annoying 11-year-old. I still play. It's no different than when you stop working. When you stop working, you go and do your pleasurable things. She got schoolwork. They make her work. So why can't I make her work? Why can't I help my child earn money? Why can't I teach her about money? So if you have a child, if your grandbaby, say like if you have $100 extra to split between 5 grandbabies, sit down with her. Come on, we're going to talk about some investments. What's your favorite thing? The way Morgan picked her stocks is that she picked her favorite thing. She thought she was going to get discounts at Starbucks. That's why she bought Starbucks the first time. But she liked Starbucks coffee, so that's what she chose. She chose EA, which is, I forget what it is, but it's by Microsoft. And she bought that because of, what was the game they had at the time? Whatever it was, Sims or something like that. But she chose that particular stock because of Microsoft and the EA. She chose Microsoft for that reason. She doesn't own a pair of Nikes. She just thought the swoosh was cool. But in doing that, she had to look at financials and understand them on her level. Come on, we're going to look at what Nike does financially. We're going to look at some financial reports. And even as an adult, we may not understand it all, but you know what, sweetie? I'm going to learn while you learn. And then when you sit them down and you start teaching them how to look at financial paperwork, you say, okay, tell me what does it say? All I need you to do is go find me a news article on Microsoft. What's going on with Microsoft? Oh, they got a new CEO. What do you think that means for that company? I don't know. What do you think it means? I think some things are about to change. Was he a good CEO or a bad CEO? When it happened, on the day that he was hired, did the stocks go up or down? What happened? Did you look? Did a whole lot of people sell it off or did a whole lot of people buy it? They bought it. Why do you think they buy it? Who did he work for before? What did he do for that company? Was he fired? Or did they just buy him out from under there and pay him millions of dollars? If they're paying him millions of dollars, they expect him to do something really big. So you might want to hold on to your Microsoft. And it's not about you having some full-on understanding of the stock market. It's just about you having enough of an understanding to tell a child, you know what? Why don't we look at this? What's one of your grandbaby's favorite toys? Somebody tell me.
What are those little Bug-Eyes toy thingies?
Bug-eye toy thingies.
They're by TY.
Like Beanie Babies,
They're like Beanie Babies,
but they got big eyes?
they're
Okay.
big, they got the big round eyes.
Who owns TY?
I don't know.
Okay, so like I said, your grandbaby has that toy, TY, and I know that company. I don't know who they're owned by, but go find out who they are. And instead of just buying the toy, when we buy the toy, we're going to buy some stock with it. It's like, ooh, you own part of this company now. And kids are very greedy to a certain extent. So when you tell them that they own a piece of a company, it kind of gives them a sense of pride. And you start calling your kids what they are. You start calling them investors. Oh, baby, you're an investor now. You just bought a piece of this. Oh, wow. And let them watch their stock go up. And see, our kids are young enough where, like we were talking about conservative bonds for you guys, kids are at an age, especially when they're young, where they can be aggressive because they have time to ride out the market. So if something shoots up like this and drops down like this, they still got it to be in there another 20, 30 years. So they can ride the wave of aggressiveness. So your kids need to be in there, and they need to understand, you know what, you're an investor. You're not somebody's employee, you're not somebody's this, that. You're an investor before you're anything. If you can turn them into an investor before they get a job, it makes a difference in their mindsets. It makes them think about their self-worth a little differently. Oh, I have an investment account. I'm balling. I don't care if they ain't got but $5. Sweetie, you a baller. Because there are a whole lot of other kids don't even know what an investment account is. So include them in the conversation. When you guys sit down and you start looking at your different portfolios, sit the kids down. You wanna come see what I'm doing? I just bought this. You know who owns this? Give them a recognizable name. Like I said, if they like EA, why do you like EA? What games do you play? Is it Fortnite? Is it Roblox? Whatever it is, who owns that? And then, so, okay, let's have you own a piece of it. And that's how you get them interested, because it's things that they know and they recognize. They don't know who P&G is. They don't give a hot tutti fruit about no Procter & Gamble.
That's true.
But what about, do you like the oatmeal cookies that they make? They own Nabisco. How about we buy some Nabisco? They own Oreos. You want to own a piece of an Oreo company? And if you put it on their level and let them understand that you're buying a piece of this, you're owning this, and then turn around. I promise you, when she was 9, the next thing I told her, I said, you know what, you got to get out of my house at 18. Not because I love you, but because I need you to be responsible. But what you're going to do at 18 is you have to buy a duplex when you turn 18, because you got to live on one side and have income on the other. Now, whether she actually leaves at 18, it doesn't matter to me. It's already in her mind. You got to have a place to live and you got to have income. I don't want you to think everything that you get has to come from a job. I can't buy a house till after I've been on my job forever and a day. No. You're going to get one when you get out of here, and it's going to be an investment property. Because after you have both sides of this duplex, you're going to move out the other side and go buy your house and rent out both sides. And you continue to move up. But we tell people that they got to wait, and they got to wait until their finances are right. They got to wait until they can afford the down payment. There's so much more out there that happens before you have to have the down payment. If you have your investment account and you, like I said, you've been investing all this time, then now your child can take part of their assets from their investment account and buy their first piece of real estate. And if you have multiple grandkids, get all them little son of a guns together and let them buy a building. Everybody's gonna start saving up a piece. Once we have that piece, we're gonna go buy a fourplex. Now all your grandbabies got income right there, and they haven't even left for high school yet. They have a place to live. If somebody needs to come back home for a minute, you can't come to my house, but you can go to your house. You got property, go live over there. You just have to make sure that you make enough to pay your mortgage and put a little money in your pocket. So that's why babies need to be included in the budget and the banking conversations. All right? So that's enough about them kids. Get them involved. And like I say, sit them down, and if you got to sit them down based on age categories, if you have, like with us, with me and my cousins, there were like 5 of us that were born in 65, 4 was born in 64, some of us born in 63. Book them together like that. But like I say, if the parents won't have the conversation, then you have the conversation. I'm investing in my grandbabies. No, you can't touch it. If you don't want to invest in them, that's on you, but I'm investing in my grandbabies. And that's what I tell Morgan now, because like I said, in Oregon, she can get a job at 14. She getting a job at 14. And she will go back to putting more money into her account. And with kids, depending on what type, if you set them up with a custodial account, they can only put aside $2,000 a year. Okay, so if they put that $2,000 a year equates to $35 a week, and that's why Morgan gets $35 a week. Once she gets to working again, she'll have a different account that doesn't have the $2,000 limit. And your kids can make up to whatever the exemption is, and you can still claim them as a dependent. A lot of people, no, I don't want them. I'm gonna lose my write-off. Man, please. Your write-off is not nearly as important as training your child up in a financial education. You can still get your write-off, you just got to find a way around it. Okay? All right. So we're going to move on to investing. We all want to invest, and that's what all of this is going to get to. So we're going to talk about some various investments. One of the things that we were talking about earlier is bond funds. Depending on where you are in your journey, I'm going to tell you guys, I'm a hater of 401ks now. I'm a 401k hater. I did have a 401k, but I'm a 401k hater, and I'm going to tell you guys why. 401k limits what you can invest in. Your company will only let you invest in so many companies. They'll give you this pool, which may be 10 different companies, when there are thousands of companies out there that you're now missing out on. They tell you have to put this here, you can only use this amount of money, and then, oh, we might match it, we might not. And if you don't stick around for 5 years, then we're not even gonna give you the part that we already matched. So I hate 401ks. Then also, if you need to get to your money, I'm gonna charge you 10% because I want you to leave it there. So now they're charging you 10% to get to your money that they told you to invest for your retirement because they're not gonna help you retire. So yeah, I hate 401ks now. They will also tell you that you can only put aside, what's the max now? 5,000 a year? 6,000 a year? Yeah, huh? When you have a 401k, they say you can only invest up to 6,000 a year. If you're an aggressive investor that's willing to put away half your money, to invest half your money, they won't let you. You could be living at home for the sake of building up a bigger stock portfolio, but they won't let you because it's like, no, you can only do this. So 401ks are very limiting. And then because it puts you in that mindset that, oh, I'm putting this away for when I retire, once you retire, now all of it's about depleting that account you built up. All you're doing is taking money out. It's no longer working for you. And now because it's depleting, you're wondering like, oh, am I gonna have enough? My father-in-law, prime example. My pop, this is my father-in-law. Pop was in a family where the men did not live past 50. Never had in his family. So he retired early. Pop lived to be 70-something years old. Oh. Yes. And it was hard for him because he was not prepared to live that long. So he didn't have nearly as much as he thought he would. And so he was not prepared for that long of a life, all those extra years. He would always tell us he's living on somebody else's time. But because we get in that mindset, when we retire, we're not supposed to make any more money, so now it's just about sucking it all out. And so when we get to that point of, okay, I'm gonna save $500,000. I got $500,000 to live on for the next 20 years. Is that enough? Inflation is gonna happen, gas prices are gonna go up, things just continue to increase, but your money is slowly being depleted because you've been in that 401k mind cycle that when I retire, this is all I have. Your money's not working for you anymore. And what if you decide you wanna continue to work? Some people don't wanna retire. Some people just, if I retire, I die. Because that's all, their whole identity is wrapped up into that. So 401ks, to me, are not your friend anymore. If your job is people always say, well, that's just free money. Your company's gonna match it, that's free money. That's free money for me putting up with a whole lot of crap, but I don't wanna be here for 5 years. So you have to stick it out just to get that free money, and then you still have to leave it in there until you turn 60-some years old. Is it really worth it? So if you have enough sense, if you have enough financial knowledge, you can invest outside of your 401k. You can still invest in the same thing that they're offering you, just doing it over here on a much larger scale without the limitations, without the penalties and all these different things. So why lock it into them and all these different people that are charging you fees for locking your money up? So 401ks to me, I don't care who you are, I don't care if y'all don't like what I said, 401ks are the devil. Very plain. When you start to talk about investing, if you're getting to the point to where you want to be an investor, and I'm not even talking about an investor as far as like I'm just going to live off my investments. But once you get into the mindset of being an investor, you start looking at how you want your money to grow. Where do you want it to grow? How long is it going to grow? Is it going to be legacy money? Because a lot of people, and I think I alluded to this the last time, insurance is for broke folks. It really is. Health insurance, life insurance, all those different things, that's for broke folks. Because we're the only ones that need it. Rich folks don't need health insurance because they can afford to pay for the doctors that they want. That's why they have better health. We have HMOs and PPOs and all these other O's, and they tell us like, oh, we got a $10 copay. But that doctor just got paid thousands of dollars based off of you just paying that. And at that time, they're counting on you to do your preventive care so you don't have to run up the rest of the bills. They put limitations on how much health care you can use. I think you can't, over your lifetime of having whatever policy, and I actually know a couple of people that maxed out their health insurance because they had health issues. So now insurance is not covering it anymore. Life insurance is the same thing. So many people paying the life insurance, then they decide, you know what, I can't afford it anymore. They just got all their free money and now you have no life insurance. And if you didn't bring your babies up with the financial education, if you leave them a $25,000 policy, what they gonna do with it? Ooh, I'm gonna give me a new car. I'm gonna give me some rims. I'm putting a new sound system in my car while they living on somebody's couch. I don't want that for our kids. So when we start talking about being investors, what do you want to invest in? When you look at your investments, sometimes you have to look at the companies you're investing in. Do they align with what you believe? We were talking about all the different ones with the causes and the nonprofits and so forth. Like I said, my truth in Starbucks, like I said, y'all just don't know how much I want a macchiato, but I refuse to buy it anymore. When the head of the company said that, no, you cannot wear Black Lives Matter. It's not even about me supporting Black Lives Matter. But when you say that you cannot wear that Black Lives Matter shirt, while you can sit up here and you can wear this gay rainbow shirt, yeah, I'm done. That was why I left Starbucks alone. He retracted it the next day. Okay, you retracted what you said. You didn't retract how you felt. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take my Starbucks money and I'm going to go buy me some cheap coffee and drink it at home. So I will no longer, I was mad that I sold my investments. I should have kept that part. Too little, too late, don't care. But you need to align with the companies that you're investing in. You have to learn to read the small print. When you're looking at financial documents, look at the small print. Because that's when they bury stuff about if they're going through bankruptcies, if certain things are being done, if somebody's being sued, all that's in that fine print down there. And one of the things we're going to look at a little further on, we're going to start looking at what they call the prospectus. These son of a guns are tiny print that are fully financial, and we're not going to understand a lot of it. I'm going to tell you this now. But you should be able to peruse it well enough where you understand if this company is financially solid. A lot of people don't count on you reading a lot of those things, but that's part of what you need to know as an investor. And when you own shares, you may not own enough shares to be counted in the vote, but you need to know which way the vote's going to go. Because when they start picking board members and all these different things, they're going to send you a ballot in the mail. And most of the times, when companies are controlled a certain way, they're going to send you what they call proxy. You guys know what proxy votes are? Yes, they'll send you a proxy vote. Oh, let me vote for you. I know better than you do. So if you're going to go that route, you have to make sure that you understand what you're investing in. So like I said, when our kids are young, they can invest aggressively. They can have a full-on stock portfolio, but it still needs to be what they call a diversified portfolio. So when we're talking about kids investing aggressively, like I said, Morgan has Microsoft. Microsoft is considered a tech stock. She has Starbucks. That's considered a food industry type of stock or whatever, consumer good. She has something else, I forget. But those are different industries. And so you have to make sure that you have diversification and you don't lump all your stuff into one basket. Do you guys remember the tech bubble? Do you guys know about the tech bubble? What it was when internet and everything was getting real good to everyone, all these different tech companies started up. All these venture capitalists invested in all these different tech companies. And these tech companies were crap. So it's what they call a tech bubble. It got bigger and bigger and bigger, and all these stock prices were going through the roof. When it burst, they were worthless. So you may have got in on the ground floor when it was $10 a share, and when it got to its max, it was $1,000 a share. When the bubble burst, it was worth 0. That was the tech bubble. So there are different things going on. It's just like when I think Amazon just split. Do you guys understand what a stock split is? Okay. You understand what a stock split is? Want me to just give you a quick and dirty? Okay. Say you have a share of stock that's $100 a share. Okay, because it continues to grow and they expect further growth, what they're gonna do is they're gonna split that in half. So instead of you having one stock worth $100, you're gonna now have two worth $50. And then if everything holds true for what they're expecting, it's gonna go back up to $100 a share. But now you have $200, whereas you had one before, okay? So I believe, I can't remember, it was one of them A's, it was either Amazon or Apple just recently split. So a lot of people jumped on that. A lot of, Tesla is selling for like $300 a share, $400 a share. So people are waiting for that to split. It may never happen. Berkshire Hathaway, Warren Buffett stock, $10,000 a share or something like that. His stock barely moves and is to me is just sitting there doing nothing because it has no real fluctuation to it. But people own Berkshire Hathaway. But if you're going to start off in this, if you're going to be aggressive about it, your most aggressive stock portfolios are full-on stock portfolios. Morgan just happens to have some bond funds because she got a mama like me. Most people would say as a kid she doesn't need a bond fund. My thing is I want my child to have monthly income even before she needs monthly income. So when you start looking at earnings per share, when you start looking at beta numbers, and we're going to go over some of these definitions so you guys can understand what they are. So when you look at a certain stock or a bond fund or a mutual fund or whichever, the spiders, the drips, all these are different things, and we will discuss them. I want you guys to understand at least a fraction of what you're looking at. Because if you're looking at drips and you're looking at EFTs and so forth, understand what you're looking at. Don't go out and buy a stock just because somebody told you it was a good investment. Because the person that, I forgot what they call it. There's like if you join certain forums, what they'll do is they'll cause a lot of chatter about a particular stock. And these are day traders normally, but they'll tell you a lot of different things about a stock price going up. And what they want you to do is they want to get enough chatter going where the stock price goes up, and that's when they start selling it off. Because they wanted to buy it down here, talk it up for a day, get it up here, and then dump the stock, which means they sell all of it. And they just made a bunch of money. Okay? When you sell short, that means when you're going to buy something and you're expecting the price to drop. So you actually make money as the stock price goes down. All of these are different things, and like I said, I know you guys that are sitting here right now are in a more conservative position in your life, but you still need to understand it, because like I said, I want you to start having these conversations with your grandkids. Sit them down and tell them a story, I don't care how you spend it, make it up, of how to invest. You know your kids, you know your grandkids, you know how to tell them, once upon a time there was a girl who owned a pea patch. The pea patch only had one pea in it until she planted the second one, and now she has 4. Tell them the story so that they understand it. So when you break out your portfolio, Miss Margaret, what do you want? Why do you want to invest? Tell me that.
Because you said I should.
I said you should?
Mostly, because I don't, like your pop, I don't know how long. I was telling my son the other day, my grandson, my great-grandson, was talking about how old my mother was when she passed. And I told him, he said, oh, so you lived longer than she did? And I said, yes, I have. And he wanted to know how old my dad was, and I told him, I said, so if I live as long as my dad did, I got 5 more years. He said, oh, that's a long time. I said, yeah, it is. You know, I'm not trying to leave no legacy. I'm giving my legacy as I live.
Okay.
By doing what I do for my children.
Okay.
I'm not trying, I have
You can leave something, I
So-
promise you. No, it doesn't have to be, I don't care if you bought each one of those grandbabies a invested $10 in a stock piece for each one of them, and just let it grow. They don't have to spend it until they get grown. That is still some sort of a legacy. Nobody says you have to make them rich when you go. You just need them to understand, I'm investing in you, baby. I'm putting this right here, and explain it to them. Granny's buying you this right now, so when I'm gone and you've grown and you need some money, or when you're ready to invest yourself, put another $5 on it and let it continue to accumulate for you. That's the legacy you leave them. Leave them the information, not just it's not just the money. I need you to understand what this means when I'm investing in you. And not all of the kids will take advantage of it, but it's gonna be at least one of your grandbabies that's gonna catch a hold. Y'all don't want y'all? Let me buy it from you. There's gonna be that one. Y'all want what Granny gave you? I got $10, I'll buy it from you. And they will buy up everybody's piece. And then when that grandbaby gets rich, all the rest are gonna feel like they was taken advantage of. But why you didn't tell us? Granny did tell you. I just listened.
Yeah, well, yeah, I got some grown great grandchildren, but most of them are babies.
Okay. Like I said, you can find, there are bond funds out there. I know one of the particular bond funds I have, a bond fund, instead of people, when you buy stocks, you're buying equity. When you're buying bonds, you're buying debt. So it's when you buy a stock, you're actually owning a piece of a company. So if say a company is broken down into 10 pieces and you bought one of those pieces, you now own 1/10 of that company. When you buy a bond fund, you're actually it's kind of like loaning them money, but you're buying a piece of their debt. They're now indebted to you to repay you your money. Okay? So, and when you put it in a fund, that means you're pulling together a bunch of them instead of just one. That's my husband calling me. I'll get it. But you're buying a bunch at one time. So when even if it's a stock fund, you're buying 5 different stocks based on one fund. Okay? I lost you. Okay, let's call this Children's Sanctuary Fund. You're buying a share of that. Children's Sanctuary Fund, okay? But under the Children's Sanctuary Fund, there's the choir fund, there's the band fund, there's the missionary fund, and you can actually buy into each one of these. I only want to buy missionary shares. I only want to buy choir shares.
You say fund, you're talking about debt.
No, when I say fund, I'm talking about a group of a collection of ownership, a collection of things. Okay? Yeah. So the church, the church is the fund, but underneath the church, there's the missionary, there's the usher, there's the choir. So I want to say, like, if all I want to do is choir, I'm gonna buy 10 shares of choir and be done with it. But if I want choir, usher, and missionary, I'm gonna buy the whole fund. Okay? So when you're whether you're buying a stock fund or mutual fund or a bond fund, you're buying a lump sum of certain investments versus just buying that individual piece. Okay? Is that better? Okay. So, like I said, I want you guys to understand some of the basics. I want you to understand, and we just kind of covered the difference between stocks and bonds, but I want you to understand what it is that you're going to leave, because you will leave something, Miss Margaret. I don't care if we got to break it down into 100 pieces, you're going to leave something, okay? But like I say, more than that, you're going to leave the story so that they understand that you're investing in them and why they need to invest in themselves. Why they're going to take this is whether you go to college, whether you go to work, whether you go find your mission that God has for you, you now have a place to start financially. And like I said, because our children are at an age where they can be aggressive, you can buy one whole share of something. If you take that $200, like I said, if you buy one share of Microsoft and split it between all the kids, as that stock goes up, that one share of stock goes up. And as the dividends keep feeding it, once the kids get to a certain age and it gets divided up, trust me, they may now have $20 a piece or $50 a piece or whatever it is, but it was, you're telling them, this is what I believe in you. I'm investing in you, so I want you to learn to invest in yourself. And tell them what you know about investing. This is how your money's gonna grow. Sweetie, don't go out here and waste it. Don't go out here and think you gotta buy the latest shoe. Instead of buying your next pair of Nikes, buy Nike stock. And teach them what it is that you know about buying stock. When they go out and they decide, oh, I'm gonna buy a new car, okay, but what do you have left? What did you invest before you bought that car? Because as soon as you drive that car, we all know it decreased in value. But as long as you have this over here, this is your money working for you. And that's what our babies need to understand. You're not working for the money is working for you. When you put it in this, it is going to grow. It is going to multiply exponentially. And that is your money working for you. That's not you being a butthead about it either when you get rich off of it. But this is you understanding that you don't have to work so hard for everything that you get. But hopefully you'll have some purpose in life that, okay, I have this over here so I can go serve my purpose. I can go feed the homeless. I can go teach in Somalia. I can go build wells in Africa or whatever it is. Because I know I'm taken care of over here. Okay? So like I said, that is my big reason for kids understanding about investing. Now, what is the one thing that you guys have always wanted to know about investing? Give me one thing. Anybody?
How do you know that the stock is not gonna tank and you're gonna lose all your money?
You don't. And that's what everybody's afraid of. Right?
With stock, it's a risk, though. It's just like with anything. It's just like with CDs. I mean, CDs are safe, but you really don't make that much money with CDs.
Yes. Yep.
That's something I got into a long time ago. But stock is one of them just risky deals. I mean, you know, it's just like when Microsoft started. You know, Bill Gates and Paul Allen years ago. You know, started in the basement.
Yeah.
And then Paul Allen got out of it, and Bill Gates.
It's still there.
Yeah. So.
And see, and this is.
My grandson who's making money. I mean, he works for Google, I think, but he's living large because he knows the stock market.
Okay.
He's doing a lot of.
And this is why I say you think you're not leaving a legacy, but every few pennies you put in makes a difference. Morgan bought her first share of stock, her first Microsoft share of stock when she was 9. She bought it at $60 a share. And like I told you guys, it is now worth over, and she has more than one share. But when that first one that she bought is now worth $200-something a share. Okay? So imagine that multiplied by however many shares she has now, including the dividends that has paid her over the last 4 years. So like I said, if you find one stock that you can afford to buy each one of your grandkids and just let it continue to accumulate in dividends, sweetie, you're leaving a legacy. You're leaving your kids a lesson that this is how your money works for you. So like I said, as far as like knowing what's going to tank, you don't. Because like I said, Microsoft can go under tomorrow. Something could happen and it could be done with. Same with Pepsi. Same with P&G. Amazon, all of them. Who is it? Elon Musk. That dude's selling off all his stuff. You know that?
You what?
He's selling off all of his worldly possessions.
Is he really?
He's selling it all off because he wants to make sure that he has enough capital because he wants to colonize Mars.
Good luck, man.
He wants to colonize Mars. And so he sold all his various homes and he's renting a house for his family.
Compute. Okay.
Now here's the thing though. I didn't say dude sold off his stock.
That's true, but he's renting. You know, if you own a home, why would you just not keep that home?
Because what he's spending in rent doesn't even come close to what he was paying to own his home. We're talking $1 million homes versus $1,000 in rent.
So
okay?
I mean, he may do it, you never know.
Like I say, he's already selling tickets to trips in space, so hey. I ain't going, but I probably wouldn't have the money to go. But like I said, my whole thing is we're going to move in now into you guys understanding the stock market. We're gonna, he was talking about putting some stuff up here. We're gonna put some stuff up here where you guys can look at it, where you can see year-to-date information and so forth, where you can understand what beta means when you're looking at a stock. So when you do decide to start in just venturing out on your own and seeing what it is you want to buy, what I always tell everybody, look at the financials, look at the small print, look who's running the companies, because whoever, I know Pastor was talking last Sunday how we get in our politics, but if you're buying into a company with someone who's in bed with someone you don't like, or you know they're doing shady stuff, you want to know that. Because you want to do, some people want to do ethical investing. Some people only want to do eco investing. They only want to invest in stuff that is good for the environment. Okay? So looking at those things and actually understanding the numbers, that will help you make better decisions. So you're not just out here buying something because it's cheap, because there are plenty of what they call penny stocks out there. And I'm talking about stocks that are worth $1 and something a share. You don't want those for your grandbabies. That's not what you want to invest in. Okay? Do you guys have any questions? Tell me something that you want to come back and talk about next week when we start looking at the. What do you, yes, we're gonna put it up here and we're gonna look at the different categories and how to set them up and make sure that you're linking to your proper accounts and different things. Because you can actually link your stash account to your Mint as well, and it will update every day, and you'll see whether your stuff goes up or down if you're one of those people that have to check all the time. Personally, I check my stuff every morning. I check all my money in the morning. Bank accounts, investment accounts, all of it. I check it in the morning. Some people, I am so not that rich where I don't check my money. I saw a guy that, I forgot how he lost his money, but he wasn't keeping up with his finances. He just knew he wasn't spending it. So next thing you know, he was getting hit with NSF charges. He didn't know why. Somebody had wiped out $30,000 out of his account because he hadn't checked it in months. That's so not me. So not me.
No, I worked too hard for that.
I have a question.
Yes.
I have three sources of income.
Okay.
I have them all going into to my one bank account.
Okay.
Do I want to change and have one going into Mint?
No, sweetie. Nothing.
Direct deposit.
Nothing is going into Mint. Mint is just how you're tracking your finances. You're not putting it.
Okay, well, not Mint instead.
It depends on how much you want to invest, or how much you want to carry over there that you actually want to spend from.
But they're saying if I use this card.
Yes, you buy those stocks.
Buys me stuff.
Yes.
Okay.
Is that what you want to do?
Well, I mean, if I'm using the card for stuff that I would be buying anyway.
Yeah.
I might as well.
Get some shares.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, then how about you just start it with, what's something that you buy every week? What's one thing you buy every week?
What do I buy every week? Besides food?
Well, like, you go to Walmart, how often you go home?
I haven't been going as much. I've been backing off of my spending, but, you know, I buy every week. What do I buy every week? Oh, I know what I buy every week. No, never tell you that.
Okay, what store do you buy it from? Okay, let's just say whatever that thing is that you buy every week, it won't necessarily buy that because it's probably not on the stock exchange in any shape, form, or fashion. But what it will do is it will put it in what I told you about earlier, which is, I think it's called Market Worldwide. it'll buy you a piece of that every time you do that every week.
What is Market Worldwide?
It is a mutual fund, and it buys just various stocks from all over the world. It is a very diversified fund of different investments. So it might take a piece from somewhere in the Ukraine, from Russia, China, Japan, France, and it is actually a worldwide fund. It pulls a little piece from everywhere in the world. Okay?
I understand what you said.
Yeah, but say I think we were talking about Spotify earlier. If you know that you do Spotify every month and you want to own Spotify, then yeah, let it come from that card and let them buy it for you every month. If you know that, I think you said you have a monthly Grubhub,
I have no number of
DoorDash. Okay, you have monthly DoorDash. DoorDash just went public. Get some of your money back by every time you pay for DoorDash, you will buy DoorDash stock. Okay? Yes. And that does not mean you have to do direct deposit. Just move $100 over there or $50 or however often you do those purchases. Okay? All right. Again, any questions that we need to address next week? Well, like I said, we're gonna pull up the mint so you guys can see and make sure that you. Yeah. Okay. Anything else about investing that we want to know? What I want you guys to do for homework, I want you to go find one stock that you think you're interested in, and then come back and tell me about it next week.
I'm not, you mean you want me to do another one?
No, I didn't say invest in it. I said go and check one out that you think you want to invest in, and then come back and tell me about it.
Already told her I wanted to invest in Amazon.
Okay, you want to invest in Amazon, but I want you to go and do some research on Amazon and not via shopping. I want you to go look at Amazon's financials and so forth and see, and I don't know if this,
Yeah, I got to keep going though, but
yes,
but I'm gonna write some stuff down and I'll talk to you Tuesday.
you talk,
See y'all later.
All right, man.
Yeah, I'm just kinda tired, okay, but.
I understand you.
Yeah, but I'm gonna write some stuff down.
Okay, and you can always just send me a text if you have a question, if you want to address it before we come back on Tuesday.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, I'll see y'all later.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not gonna play up here yet. AJ will make sure that it's up here, but we're gonna pull up some stuff on like Yahoo Finances and different things, and we're gonna look at them, and we're gonna look at some things that you guys think that you may wanna invest in. Like I said, I suggest at your ages that you, invest, conservatively. That does not mean you can't have one wild card in your portfolio though. One wild card, like just something that you wanna invest in, like you want to invest in Amazon, sweetie, buy your share of Amazon. It's going to take you a minute to buy a whole share, especially if you're investing small, like $5 or $10 a week. No, because Amazon is about $120. I think it's about $120 a share. Let's see. Apple is now $128. Let's see.
What's Microsoft at or something?
Let me see. Starbucks is at 102. That's Nike. Let's see what Microsoft is at. Microsoft is 214. It's 214 a share.
Did you find out what Amazon is?
You want? She gonna get her some Amazon, y'all.
I mean, because
might as well, she
know
knows
a
a lot
lot
of
of
money with
people do Amazon.
Yeah, I don't think you get an Amazon, sweetheart.
Well, how much is
$3,120 a share,
it? Oh, see.
and it actually went up 6 points today.
Maybe you could chip away.
You can chip away at it, but yeah.
All it would be, I have to focus on something else.
Oh, but that wasn't even. Let's see.
3,000.
Yeah, I'm not surprised, because everybody buys from Amazon, everybody.
Yes.
Because it is so convenient. They send it to your house, no shipping charge.
So yeah, if you're going to buy Amazon, I would not discourage it. Even though it's $3,000 a share, I would not discourage it, because if it's that amount, imagine how much it'll be worth when your kids are ready to cash it in, your grandbabies. Even if you, It doesn't matter, because if it's at $3,000 a share right now, and even if it splits later on and it continues to grow, and like I said, it went up 6 points today. And that means it went up 6 percentage points today. So it is still going up. So if you start buying like just $10 every week of a piece of Amazon as it's going up, you may not ever get to the share, but if it splits or anything else, because there are stocks that split not just 2 for 1, they can split 3 or 4 for 1. And Amazon's gonna have to do, I think, is gonna have to do something at some point, and is going to have to split, because it's just not gonna be worth it for people. No one else is gonna be able to invest in it,
Right.
so.
That's what I was thinking.
What, buying some Amazon?
Yeah, 'cause even if we just buy one share,
Yeah. Amazon ain't going nowhere. Bezos is. Me and my daughter, we were making fun about Amazon the other night. We were watching, we were getting our toes done, and we were watching the financial news and so forth. And they were talking about things that we had to have and all this different stuff. Oh no, what it was is that they were talking about Congress was upset because of the use of certain words, how women were being written out of certain things. Instead of amen, it should be a women as well, and all this other kind of stuff. And they should take out gender roles when they say certain things. It's crazy. And so me and Morgan started making fun. It's like, yeah, you won't have a gender, you'll have an Amazon account. Because Amazon does prescriptions, Amazon delivers everything. Amazon now has a thing where it takes your blood pressure. I'm telling you, Amazon will lock you in your house, out of your house, will blink at you. Amazon has everything. And it's like, we're going to lose everything to Amazon. If you don't have an Amazon account, you don't exist.
And they work 24/7.
We don't have an Amazon.
They work 24/7.
Yeah.
I know that.
You got Alexa being nosy.
They told me that they ship
She always say, I'm not listening, that's illegal. Shut up, Heifer, you lying. I know you heard me. So I stuff popping up, can't even, and then just to show you how much they listen, after we left there, I said, Morgan, I'm gonna go home and type A in my search. Amazon popped up. I know that heifer was listening to my phone, even though it was buried in my purse. But like I said, if you guys plan on leaving anything, I even though Amazon is very expensive, that does not mean you shouldn't buy it. If you believe in the power of Amazon and you know it's not going anywhere, why wouldn't you invest in it? Because if it does ever split, you're going to own more shares. That's all. Own a bigger piece of a share if you don't ever get to the whole thing. So, any other stocks you guys interested in, you think?
I don't know, we have to talk about this.
Yeah. And just so like I said,
in terms of what we're, the kind of investing that we're looking at doing, and, you know, looking at having dividends kind of.
as income, mhm.
So if we paid out $3 grand, you know, to get a share.
Of Amazon. Let me go back to Amazon.
You know, what would that,
That's something that you just,
what would that payout look like on a monthly basis?
That wouldn't necessarily look like anything, because depending on how we looked at that number earlier, how we were talking about that one bond fund we looked at paid out 60 cents per share, it might be the same for Amazon. Their payout may not be any bigger based on the shares, the amount of shares that you have. So you just have to go and look at it. And with stocks, the fluctuation will be a lot bigger, so the dividend may go up or down depending on what they're doing. But the thing about it is Amazon is still a growth stock, which is different. So if you're buying something that's kind of like a balanced fund where it just kind of just does this, Amazon is still growing. And like I said, I wish I could show you guys because I'm looking at the chart right here. Remember I told you about that big dip? And so looking at it right now, Amazon had gotten as high as 31, looks like 31.55 or something like that. And so, let me see, no, after hours trading, it went up to 31.35. So it still went up 14 points. And we don't have enough money to get into after hours trading. And it's not something, I think, Kenny was asking about crypto and Bitcoin and all that kind of stuff. Not even in your wheelhouse yet, not even close. Just learning this basic stuff is where you want to stay. You are not in the wheelhouse to be investing in Bitcoin and crypto. It's not something to do, not even something I would suggest, unless you were just a heavy hitter type of investor. We're not there. Okay, and that's another thing, and this is another reason why I talked about also doing investment groups, because even though one of us don't necessarily want to buy $3,000 or one share, if we come together and everybody start chipping in, we can buy multiple shares. So nobody comes out of pocket, and we still get a bigger dividend now. Make sense? So that's why I was talking about investment groups, because as an investment group, once you leave your legacy, we can buy out your shares, and that goes to your grandkids. Because now you were able to buy it quicker or buy more quicker than if you were trying to do it by yourself at $10 a share. Make sense? So, all right, honeys, we're gonna do some budgeting. And like I said, if you can get on Mint and start let it do its thing. Like, just make sure you link it to your account and let it do its thing. It's going to pull in at least 3 months worth of transactions. And so you're going to see what your categories look like over the last 3 months, and you're gonna laugh. It's like, wow, I spent all that money there. But it's going, once you link it to your bank account, it's going to automatically pull in, I think, 3 to 6 months of past transactions.
I don't understand, Phyllis, I don't understand how they can tell me my bank, Mint tells me my bank account, my balance is one thing. But when I go on Chase.
It shows you something else.
something else.
Okay, like I said, there's your pending and your actual.
Yeah, they show me both of those.
And you're seeing 4 different numbers, 2 different numbers, then 2 different numbers over here?
With Chase, it's always actual. My money comes out unless it's one of those ones where you order it and you order something and they don't
Take it right away?
take it until they ship it.
That's
Okay.
pending.
That's pending.
Yes, but the bank doesn't know it.
Okay, I see what you're saying. They won't hold your money like some other banks will.
They don't know, they don't know it, and so they tell me my available amount is always the same as my amount.
Current balance. Okay.
Yes, so when I go to my bank, it's always the same.
Okay. Then the only thing I can think of is that Mint is lumping in your savings as well.
$32.
Is that
The
30?
difference in between what I have in the bank and what they're telling me I have in the bank is $300, almost.
Okay, we'll look at it. When we dismiss this, I'll look at it and see where they're talking about that $300 difference is coming from.
Did you get a stimulus check?
She said she already spent that. All right, we're gonna roll up out of here, y'all.
So I'm gonna have to get you to help me out right now.
Yeah.
Figure out my Mint, because I downloaded everything and I started putting it together. And I'm in a business mode. It wants to, say, what's your business name? So I thought maybe if I put in, so maybe I downloaded the wrong one or something, but, so I put family.
Mm-hmm.
Because I thought maybe when I got further into it.
Yeah, it would change to something else. Okay,
But it didn't, so.
okay.
It makes me.
Now, I don't know if you can, I'm pretty sure you can't see it from there. But the Mint app has that little green leaf. That's what it looks like. If that's not the one you have something different. It's just a little green leaf.
This says, QuickBooks.
Then you downloaded QuickBooks, you didn't download Mint.
No, that's not it.
Yeah, you downloaded QuickBooks, so that's why it's asking you about your business, because it's that's a bookkeeping app. Okay? But like I said, I want you guys to go ahead and link your accounts to it, even if you don't do anything to it. Go ahead so it can pull in those transactions, because like I said, when we start putting them in the right categories and fixing them and all of that kind of stuff, you'll see what you're doing with your money.
Oh, I know how I got messed up. Because under the QuickBooks Online Accounting, it says Intuit.
You just saw the Intuit? Yeah, just make sure it's Mint Intuit. And another thing that Mint has is it will track I think it's your TransUnion credit score. Okay?
Cool.
All right. Dear Lord, we thank you for this time together. We thank you for this educational moment. We thank you for the flow of it all. We thank you that our finances will be freed. And you said whatever is bound on heaven is bound on earth, and whatever is loosed in heaven is loosed on earth. And we thank you that our finances are loose so that they flow to us and so that we can experience increase, oh Lord. We thank you that we are not being in a place of greed, but we're being in a place of obedience so that we can pay our tithes, so that we can be helpful, and so that we can be a blessing to not only ourselves, to others. And we thank you and we give you praise, honor, and glory in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.